Have you ever felt set apart without choosing to be? As if an unseen boundary follows you through life, drawing people in deeply, yet never allowing anything superficial to last. Your connections feel intense, meaningful, and transformative, but they often end before you can make sense of why. You may have wondered if something is wrong with you, or why love and belonging seem to operate differently in your world. In this message, we will reveal why your path has always felt unconventional. Through the spiritual insights shared in Dolores Cannon's work, you'll discover the truth of the spiritually chosen woman, why her energy triggers awakening in others, why she cannot remain in misaligned relationships, and why solitude follows her not as punishment, but as design. This is about understanding your frequency, your purpose, and the sacred role your soul agreed to carry. Confusion gives way to clarity. You will stop questioning your difference and begin honoring it. What once felt like isolation will be recognized as preparation. This shift doesn't just soothe the heart, it restores inner authority. If you have always known deep down that your life was meant to unfold beyond the crowd, this transmission will help you finally understand why. Section 1. The soul that volunteered before birth. The spiritually chosen woman is not chosen by accident, nor is her path the result of chance or circumstance. According to the work of Dolores Cannon, certain souls incarnate into this world with prearranged agreements known as soul contracts. These contracts are not formed during a single lifetime but are made between incarnations, in the space beyond physical form, where the soul clearly understands its purpose and willingly accepts its mission. These women are ancient souls. Long before entering this body, they volunteered for one of the most demanding assignments available on Earth. Their role was never meant to be easy. They came to anchor higher levels of consciousness into a dense emotional, mental, and energetic reality. They came to hold frequencies that often feel out of place in the world they were born into. Their presence alone is meant to shift environments, awaken dormant awareness, and gently disrupt unconscious patterns in others. As part of their agreement, they serve as bridges between realms. They intuitively sense what cannot be seen, feel what cannot be spoken, and recognize truth beneath appearances. Many become healers without formal training, simply through their ability to hold space, reflect truth, and transmit clarity. Others act as catalysts for awakening, triggering growth, healing, or transformation in those they encounter, often without intending to or even realizing it at first. Throughout history, these souls appeared as mystics, seers, healers, and spiritual teachers. They were the ones who preserved sacred knowledge during periods when truth was suppressed or forgotten. In times of darkness, they carried wisdom quietly, sometimes in solitude, sometimes at great personal cost. They held the light when collective consciousness drifted into fear, control, or disconnection. This calling did not begin at birth. It began long before, in a realm where the soul understood that the path would require sacrifice, loneliness, and unwavering devotion to inner truth. The spiritually chosen woman agreed to walk this road knowing it would test her heart, challenge her sense of belonging, and strip away illusions again and again. Yet she chose it anyway, because her soul knew that her presence here was not optional, it was necessary. Write a transition paragraph for this before move to the next. Encourage viewers to reflect, leave a comment, sharing their thoughts, or simply type a specific sentence. Before we move into the next layer of this journey, pause for a moment and let this truth settle within you. If something in this message feels familiar, if it stirs a quiet recognition rather than surprise, that awareness itself is meaningful. These are not ideas meant to be consumed quickly. They are meant to be felt. Take a breath and reflect on whether you have sensed this calling within your own life, the feeling that you have always been carrying something deeper, something unspoken. If this resonates, share your thoughts in the comments so we can witness one another's journeys. Or, if words feel unnecessary, simply type, "I remember my soul's mission," as a quiet acknowledgement to yourself and to the universe that you are beginning to recognize why you are here. Section 2. Early signs of a different frequency. From a very young age, the spiritually chosen woman often senses that she does not quite belong in the world around her. Even as a child, she feels more than she can logically explain. She intuitively reads emotional undercurrents in people, rooms, and situations long before words are spoken. While others rely on facts and appearances, She absorbs tone, energy, and intention instinctively, as if her awareness is tuned to a deeper layer of reality. Many of these women display intuitive abilities early in life. Some naturally perceive auras or shifts in energetic fields, while others communicate with unseen companions, spirit guides, or inner presences that feel familiar rather than frightening. Crowded spaces can feel overwhelming, not because of social anxiety, but because she absorbs the emotional and energetic charge of everyone around her. Noise, conflict, and chaos can quickly exhaust her nervous system, leaving her craving solitude as a form of energetic regulation. A persistent sense of homesickness often follows her, even when she cannot name what she is longing for. It is not a physical place she misses, but a frequency, a remembrance of something ancient and familiar beyond this lifetime. This is why she is drawn to ancient wisdom, sacred texts, symbols, and spiritual traditions that speak of forgotten truths. She recognizes these teachings not as new information, but as echoes of something she already knows. In social structures built on conformity, hierarchy, and emotional suppression, she often struggles to fit in. This is not because she is flawed or incapable, but because her inner wiring operates differently. Her nervous system is more sensitive, her intuition more refined, and her awareness extends far beyond surface-level interactions. She feels the unspoken, notices what others overlook, and questions systems that feel energetically misaligned. This heightened sensitivity is not a weakness. It is an early indicator of her role as a bridge between worlds, between emotion and understanding, between the visible and the unseen. Long before she understands her purpose, her frequency quietly reveals that she was never meant to blend in, but to perceive, to feel, and to awaken. Section 3. The frequency gap that creates solitude. The spiritually chosen woman operates on a different frequency than most people around her. Think of it as a radio station. She is tuned to higher bandwidth while others remain on lower channels. This creates a frequency gap, a space where deep, lasting connections become difficult to sustain, not because of superiority, but because of dimensional difference. She sees beyond masks, feels unspoken truths, knows things without logical explanation. This results in a loneliness that goes beyond social isolation. It is cosmic loneliness, the feeling of speaking a language few understand. Section 3. The frequency gap that creates solitude. The spiritually chosen woman operates on a frequency that differs profoundly from most of the world around her. Imagine reality as a vast field of radio stations, each broadcasting on its own bandwidth. While many people remain tuned to familiar channels shaped by survival, routine, and surface-level connection, she is calibrated to a higher, more expansive frequency. Her awareness picks up subtler signals, deeper emotional layers, and truths that exist beyond what is spoken or seen. This difference creates what can be described as a frequency gap. It is not a wall of arrogance or a sense of superiority, but a natural dimensional divide. When two people are tuned to different channels, no amount of effort can fully bridge the static between them. Conversations may begin easily, attraction may spark quickly, yet sustaining deep and lasting connection becomes difficult. The resonance fades not because love or care is absent, but because alignment is missing. She sees beyond social masks almost immediately. Where others accept appearances, she senses inconsistencies. She feels unspoken emotions, hidden fears, suppressed wounds, and unacknowledged truths without needing explanation. Often, she knows things without logical reasoning, simply because her intuition reads the field before the mind catches up. This depth of perception can be unsettling for others, especially those not ready to face what lies beneath their own surface. As a result, her loneliness extends far beyond social isolation. It is not cured by being surrounded by people, relationships, or attention. It is a cosmic loneliness, the ache of speaking a language few around her truly understand. Even in company, she may feel unseen, unheard, or emotionally alone, because the conversation never quite reaches the depth where she lives. This solitude is not a flaw in her design, it is a consequence of her frequency. Until she encounters others who can meet her at the same energetic altitude, her path often requires walking alone, listening inwardly, and trusting that this gap exists not to punish her, but to protect the integrity of who she is becoming. Write me another good paragraph, with coherent and fluent sentences about a good and meaningful example for the above lesson to help listeners visualize it better. Imagine her sitting at a table surrounded by friends, laughter filling the room, conversations flowing easily about work, trends, and everyday concerns. Outwardly, she smiles and participates, yet inwardly, she feels a quiet distance growing. As someone speaks, she senses the sadness behind their jokes, the fear beneath their confidence, the longing hidden in casual words. She wants to respond to what is really being shared, but when she gently touches that deeper truth, the room grows uncomfortable, the conversation quickly shifts, or her insight is dismissed as thinking too much. In that moment, she realizes the gap is not physical but vibrational. She is hearing a deeper melody, while others are only tuned to the surface rhythm. This is how the frequency gap creates solitude, not through rejection or lack of love, but through the simple reality that she is listening, speaking, and living on a wavelength that few around her are ready to receive. Section 4. Love that awakens and then leaves. In relationships, her energy is unmistakably magnetic. She does not chase love or seek attention, yet partners are drawn to her with surprising ease. There is something in her presence that feels alive, safe, and deeply familiar to the soul. At first, connection flows effortlessly. Conversations deepen quickly. Emotional walls fall faster than expected. But as intimacy unfolds, an imbalance soon reveals itself. She sees beyond masks and social roles. She senses what has not been spoken, feels the wounds others have learned to hide, and recognizes patterns even before they surface. Superficial dynamics cannot survive in her field. She cannot pretend, perform, or settle for half-truths. Her authenticity alone begins to unsettle unresolved pain in those who come close. Because of this, she becomes a living mirror. Without trying to fix or change anyone, her presence exposes what is unhealed. She reflects back fears, avoidance, and emotional immaturity with quiet clarity. For many partners, this is the first time they are truly seen, not for who they pretend to be, but for who they are beneath the surface. And that realization initiates transformation. Partners often heal, awaken, or evolve through loving her. Old wounds rise to be acknowledged, suppressed emotions surface, growth accelerates. Yet once the lesson is integrated, once the awakening has occurred, many are unable or unwilling to remain. Staying would require continued honesty, emotional responsibility, and depth, and not everyone is ready for that level of self-confrontation. So she becomes the teacher, the healer, the catalyst. She holds space through confusion, fear, and growth. She gives more, loves deeper, and remains present longer than most. And still, she is rarely the one chosen to stay with, not because she lacks value, but because her love demands evolution. Pause here and reflect honestly. Have you been the one who gave more, healed more, and held space longer? Have people left stronger, clearer, or more awakened after loving you, while you were left wondering why love so often feels temporary? If this resonates, you are not alone. This is not a flaw. It is the mark of a soul whose love awakens others, even if they are not yet ready to walk beside her. Section V. Sacred solitude as a spiritual function. This pattern extends beyond romance. Friendships often follow similar paths. She becomes the one others turn to in crisis, the lighthouse in the storm, the grounding presence during emotional upheaval. But when healing is complete, people move on, integrating their growth into lives that no longer require her presence. This is not failure, it is function. Like a spiritual midwife, she assists in birth, knowing her role ends once transformation is complete. Her solitude is not emptiness, is preparation. Section 5. Sacred solitude as a spiritual function. This pattern does not end with romance. It extends quietly and consistently into her friendships, her family bonds, and even her professional relationships. Again and again, she finds herself becoming essential during moments of collapse, confusion, or emotional crisis. When others are unraveling, they instinctively turn toward her. She becomes the steady voice in the chaos, the lighthouse in the storm, the grounding presence when life feels unmanageable. People come to her when they are breaking open. They lean on her clarity, her calm, her ability to hold space without judgment. She listens deeply. She stabilizes emotional upheaval, She reminds others of who they are when they have forgotten themselves. In her presence, nervous systems regulate, truth surfaces, and healing accelerates. Yet once that healing is complete, once balance is restored and direction regained, many move on. They integrate what they have learned into lives that no longer require her constant presence. The calls become less frequent, the closeness fades, not because something went wrong, but because something worked. This is not abandonment, it is not rejection, and it is not failure, it is function. She serves a precise spiritual role, much like a midwife of the soul. She assists in moments of birth, emotional rebirth, spiritual awakening, personal transformation. She knows how to remain steady while others pass through fear, pain, and change. But she also understands, often painfully, that her role is complete once the transformation has taken root. The child is born, the crisis has passed, the soul has stabilized, and her presence is no longer required in the same way. This is why solitude follows her so closely. Not as punishment, not as loss, but as sacred reset. Her solitude is not emptiness, it is preparation. It is the quiet recalibration that allows her to remain clear, strong, and available for the next phase of her mission. In the stillness, she replenishes what she gives so freely. She returns to herself, and she prepares not for loneliness, but for the next soul she will help guide safely through the storm. Write a transition paragraph for this, if they made it this far. Encourage viewers to reflect, leave a comment sharing their stories, or just type a specific sentence to make an affirmation. If you've made it this far, pause for a moment and breathe this in. Let these words settle not just in your mind, but in your body and memory. Reflect honestly on your own life, the relationships where you were the anchor, the moments when people arrived broken and left transformed, the quiet spaces where you wondered why you were left standing alone. Your story matters here. If this resonates, share your experience in the comments so others know they are not walking this path alone. Or, if words feel heavy, simply type, "My solitude is sacred, and it serves a higher purpose." Let that sentence be your affirmation, a gentle acknowledgement that nothing about your journey has been accidental. Section 6. Why she cannot walk a conventional path. The spiritually chosen woman is in a state of continual becoming. She is not meant to arrive at a fixed identity and remain there. Her soul is designed for expansion, for shedding old skins, for realigning with higher truth again and again. What once fit her will eventually feel too small, and what once felt safe will begin to feel restrictive. This constant evolution is not instability, it is obedience to growth. She is responding to an inner compass that refuses stagnation, even when the world pressures her to settle, slow down, or conform. This depth of transformation requires an uncommon level of freedom. Few people are prepared to grow at the speed her soul demands, and fewer still are willing to release their own comfort, to walk beside her as she changes. Her path often calls for intuitive movement rather than predictable planning. She must say yes when spirit nudges her forward, even if logic cannot yet explain why. She must let go of relationships, roles, and identities when alignment shifts, not because she lacks loyalty, but because her loyalty is to truth rather than familiarity. Her purpose comes before convention. She is, in many ways, married first to her mission, and that devotion naturally challenges traditional ideas of partnership, routine, and permanence. This does not mean she is incapable of love. It means her love cannot be built on compromise that silences her soul. Any connection that asks her to abandon her calling, suppress her intuition, or dim her expansion will eventually fall away, not out of rejection, but out of spiritual necessity. Though she may walk alone in the physical sense, her solitude is anything but empty. She is deeply connected to guidance beyond the visible world. She receives insight through inner knowing, synchronicities, and subtle communication with higher realms and spiritual teams that support her journey. She may appear solitary to others, but she is never unsupported. Her path is unconventional because her assignment is uncommon. She walks without a crowd, yet she is never without direction, never without companionship on the spiritual level, and never without purpose guiding each step forward. Section 7. The gift, hidden within the solitude. Over time, the spiritually chosen woman learns wholeness, not through others, but within herself. She embodies sovereignty, spiritual independence, self-sourced fulfillment. Her solitude becomes sacred space for healing, creation, communion, and service. She no longer asks why she must walk alone. She asks how she can best serve while walking this path. Her presence awakens others simply by existing. Her life becomes a bridge between human and divine. Section 7. The gift hidden within the solitude. With time, the spiritually chosen woman comes to understand a truth that cannot be taught, only lived. Wholeness does not arrive through another person completing her, rescuing her, or validating her existence. It is born within her own being. Through seasons of solitude, she learns how to stand fully in herself, no longer fragmented by longing or defined by what is missing. What once felt like absence slowly reveals itself as initiation. She begins to embody true sovereignty. This is not isolation, but spiritual independence. Her sense of fulfillment becomes self-sourced, anchored in her connection to her inner truth rather than external approval. She no longer waits to be chosen, supported, or understood in order to feel complete. She chooses herself, aligns with her soul, and draws strength directly from the source that created her. Her solitude transforms into sacred space. It becomes the container for deep healing, creative expression, communion with higher realms, and service to something greater than herself. In the quiet, she clears old wounds, receives insight, and allows divine wisdom to move through her without distortion. Silence becomes a language. Stillness becomes a teacher. What once felt empty now feels holy. At this stage, she no longer asks why she must walk alone. That question dissolves as clarity rises. Instead, she asks how she can best serve while walking this path. Her focus shifts from personal ache to collective contribution. She understands that her life is not meant to be ordinary, but purposeful. Without effort or performance, her presence begins to awaken others. She does not need to convince, chase, or teach in traditional ways. Simply by existing in alignment, she becomes a living bridge between the human and the divine. Her life itself becomes the message, and her solitude reveals itself as one of the greatest gifts her soul could have received. If you recognize yourself in this journey, let this truth settle gently but firmly within you. You are not alone in your aloneness. What you are experiencing is not isolation by accident, but alignment by design. Across the world, women like you are walking similar paths, often unseen, often misunderstood, yet profoundly necessary. You are carrying higher frequencies into spaces that once held fear, limitation, and forgetting. You are anchoring new timelines not through noise or force, but through presence, integrity, and inner clarity. Your solitude is not a sign that something went wrong. It is evidence that something sacred is unfolding. This season was not meant to give you comfort before it gave you purpose. It was meant to refine you, strengthen you, and clear your vision so you could stand firmly in who you are becoming. You were never meant to disappear into the crowd. You were entrusted with a mission that requires discernment, emotional maturity, and the courage to walk without constant validation. You are not here to fit into old systems or repeat old patterns. You are here to light the way forward, simply by being aligned with your truth. So trust your path, even when it feels quiet. Trust your frequency, even when it sets you apart. Trust the divine intelligence guiding your steps, even when the destination has not fully revealed itself. Your difference is not a flaw to correct. It is a gift the world is ready to receive. And now, more than ever, your presence matters. If this message resonated with you, leave a comment below with the words, "I was appointed, not abandoned." Let this be your declaration and your recognition of the path you are walking. And if this message spoke to your heart, support the channel by liking and sharing this video with someone who may need to hear it today. Be sure to watch the video below, where we continue this journey and go even deeper into what this season is preparing you for.